The Denver Broncos might be the most dangerous team nobody is ready for. With Bo Nix fighting back for Week 1, Jalen Waddle adding explosive firepower, and a defense built to win a Super Bowl, Denver isn't just chasing the Chiefs. They're coming to take over the AFC.
All right, 2 teams down, 2 to go. Let's go to the Broncos, and they were so close to getting to the Super Bowl. As we saw at the top, they opened up the season against the Chiefs, the first Week 1 matchup between Denver and KC since 2004. So it's been a minute since we've opened the season with that matchup. Mike, what are you thinking for the Broncos? What is the season prediction when you're looking at the schedule?
Yeah, this was the best team in the AFC all regular season last year. It was the best team in the AFC during the postseason. It was the best team in the AFC up until Bo Nix's ankle gave out. So truthfully, I don't see that changing because they brought pretty much everyone back and added Jalen Waddle to the mix. Probably the biggest weakness, the biggest spot that ailed this team a season ago, they now flipped on its head and brought in Jalen Waddle to be that dynamic wide receiver 2 for them. And so this offense looks like, it's not going to match the quality of this defense because it's, top 3 defense in the NFL, but it looks like it should be and could be a top 10 unit in the NFL. So if you have a top 10 offense, a top 3 defense, this to me is still amongst, if not the best team in the AFC. So I went with 12 wins. It could even be higher than that just because the schedule is so tough for them.
I'm going with 12 wins as well, and I think if they're able to get Bo Nix back 100% by Week 1, they should get off to a pretty good start offensively. I mean, Jalen Waddle is going to give them a lot more explosiveness, an ability to actually connect on a lot of passes downfield that they kept trying to do with Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, and the rest of the group of the Broncos receivers outside of Cortland Sutton, and it just didn't work. Jalen Waddle is everything that they've been hoping for, and those guys rolled up into one player. I am very curious about some of their defensive changes, especially a linebacker. Out goes Dre Greenlaw. Jonah Ellis is going to be playing a little more off ball. They brought back Justice Sternad and Alex Singleton, but that was one of their weaker spots on that defense. If you were going to attack one area in that defense, it would be the linebackers, and I think getting off to a good start this season is going to be huge for them. 6 of their first 9 opponents are 2025 playoff teams. They get the Chiefs twice in the first 9 games, which I think is huge for them. So if they can get those Chiefs games out the way early, I think they're on a pretty smooth course towards winning the division once again. So like Mike said, this team was one of the best regular season teams last season. I think they're going to continue to be one of the better regular season teams in 2026.
All right, so the guys are in agreement, a 12-5 prediction for the Broncos. Finally, got to talk about the Raiders, where we're not really sure when we're going to see Fernando Mendoza.
Denver, what a brutal start. Holy smoke. The Broncos start with the Chiefs, then Jacksonville, the Rams, the Niners, the Chargers, and the Seahawks. Some of this, well, let's start with their quarterback. We talked about the race to get back. Yeah. A lot of that conversation is about Patrick Mahomes. How about Bo Nix? This news that he had a second surgery. Will he be there for all of these games?
Yeah, the organization's not concerned about Bo Nix, despite the fact that he did undergo a second procedure on that ankle. It was just a cleanup. He was going to have it anyway. It got delayed because of the injury that he suffered in the divisional playoff game against Buffalo that prevented him from playing the AFC Championship game. But the organization is not concerned. He should be ready for training camp. He's going to be ready for Week 1 at Kansas City on Monday Night Football.
So, I mean, RC, I'm surprised. To me, the Broncos feel like a Super Bowl contender. I think if their quarterback is healthy, they were in the Super Bowl a year ago. DraftKings Sportsbook has them the 3rd favorites in the division behind Kansas City and the Chargers. I know this is a brutal start. But what are you looking at?
Well, I think the first thing is look who the quarterbacks of those other 2 teams are. Right? People still don't put Bo Nix in that conversation, even with all the fourth quarter comebacks. The athleticism we saw from the quarterback position, we're looking at those other quarterbacks and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and they hold them in a different esteem. And the other piece of this is this defense is not only Super Bowl caliber, it can go win you a Super Bowl. It almost put them there with Jarrett Stidham at the quarterback position last year. So this isn't a team that you could sleep on. This is the difference, though, between having the 3rd place schedule last year and now having a first place schedule when the way we look at this season started.
You've talked about that a lot last couple of days here. Yeah. That first place schedule is a real thing, and you've lived it.
Absolutely. You're getting everybody's A game. There's no question about it. But I will say this, like with the Denver Broncos, they got a couple things working towards them. Number one, that trade for Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle is going to make a big difference in this offense because he brings an element that quite honestly was lacking with that offense, the explosive element, and then continuity. Like, some of these other teams, coaches moved on. There's been changes, but you still got Sean Payton, Bo Nix. Like, that is such a big deal for a young quarterback, having that continuity as far as play calling and quarterback. So I think those things will work in his favor.
I'll say this, too. I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes. That's a whole other conversation. Bo Nix has won playoff games. Justin Herbert has not.
Yeah.
I happen to be a big Justin Herbert fan. That team never seems to be healthy by the time the season comes to an end. But at this point, Nix, Herbert, I don't know that it's such a one-sided conversation.
I don't believe it's a one-sided conversation, but everything in the Justin Herbert conversation is about potential.
Right.
It's about who he can be, what we've seen him do from an athleticism standpoint, from a measurable standpoint, the arm strength. With Bo Nix, what we saw last year was many times for 3 quarters, he wasn't the quarterback that you wanted, but he found ways to win along with Sean Payton. If we see more consistency out of him, this could be one of the best teams in the league again.
All right.
Our next guest here at GMFB is a running back out of the University of Washington. In the 4th round of the 2026 draft, Denver called, and he went from being a Husky to a Bronco. Welcome inside GMFB, everybody. It's Jonah Coleman.
What's going on? What's going on?
Great to see you. It looks good in orange so far. We like the branding for support of the Denver Broncos. Jonah, from college to the combine to the draft to rookie minicamp, it's been a whirlwind for you. What have the last few months been like for you in this experience?
The emotions was definitely like all over the place. But first off, I want to thank you for having me on here.
Yeah.
I'm really honored and blessed to be on here. But it was definitely like a lot of swing of emotions and, kind of figuring out what's the unknown. It was a long 4 months for sure, from January, February to March, from going to combine. And then I feel like after combine and pro day, everything just kind of just rolled through. But I'm glad to be a Bronco. I'm glad to finally have that process over, I don't like the unknown, so I'm glad to finally know where I'm at and, where I'm going to spend pretty much where my career going to be.
No doubt about it, Jonah. And your head coach, Sean Payton, is a legendary coach in this league, a Super Bowl champ who has been respected in the NFL for decades. What does it mean to you when someone of that stature puts his faith in you and handpicks you to be a Denver Bronco?
It means a lot to me, honestly, because, I grew up watching a lot of football and I seen Sean Payton coach. And plus, being with Jeff Fish, he's been with Sean Payton before. So they share a lot of similarities and values and as far as how they run their programs, how they run their offense and things like that. So I feel like it's definitely going to be an easy transition for me as far as, on the field and off the field, as far as how Sean likes his things ran.
Now, I know how Sean likes his things run because I played for him.
Jonah, sometimes players who go to the mile-high city have a bit of an adjustment period when it comes to the elevation and the thin air of Denver. But I don't know if it's going to be a problem for you. You had a game in in Denver against the Buffs in 2023, and you went 11 carries for 179 yards. Bonkers. A few TDs in that one, too. So tell us, is the altitude going to affect you? Has it affected you? Are you preparing for the altitude? Do you even care about the altitude?
I honestly don't care about the altitude. I'm just here to play football and do my job. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, But I do remember that game like it was yesterday, and the elevation when I first got here was a little bit of trouble, but it'll take a few days to get acclimated and stuff like that. But it's different when you're in football shape and in season shape and playing out here and then coming off basically like pro day and combine shape. It's like a different type of feeling, most definitely, because it didn't feel like how it felt when, obviously went to go play the Buffs, but I'm all good. I'm acclimated.
So, Jonah, when you play in Kansas City Monday Night Football week 1 of your first regular season game ever, will that be your first in attendance regular season NFL game?
Yes, it will be. Never been.
Wow.
Never been.
Wow.
Where did you grow up and what team were you a fan of that you would have liked to attend? And how was your childhood that maybe you weren't afforded that opportunity to go?
Well, I'm from Stockton, California. It's near the Bay Area. You had 2 sides of the family. So my mom's side was the 49er fans, and then my dad's side was the Raider fans. So I was with Dad on that, sadly. But I grew up being a Raider fan. And ultimately just really couldn't afford it to go down there and watch a game and stuff like that. That's why I never been to a game or anything like that. So, even when I did, like, obviously NIL is a thing in college. I just feel like I wanted to experience my first one, the one that I actually play in. And I challenged myself, like, I'm not going to go to an NFL game until I make it to the NFL. And that's what the whole mindset and mentality was, when I kind of thought about it, like, I've never been to an NFL game, and then it was like, all right. Because obviously I was in Seattle and the Seahawks are right there.
Sure.
And they always had the games. And it was like, I was like, I'm going to just wait till I get to the NFL because I had opportunities to go. But it's like, I want to experience the moment to myself and feel all the emotions and all the hard work paid off. Because I still feel like this whole process is surreal to me. Like even now, it's still kind of hard to believe. And I feel like once I run out that tunnel for the first time, that's when I'm gonna be able to feel it and take it all in.
The question that I have for you is, have you added onto it recently? Give us an update on the back tat.
Nah, I finished the full back tat already. It's already done. I'm thinking about doing a stomach next, just to be complete.
Ow.
But yeah, it represents a lot. Beat the odds. I'm from Stockton, California. I'm the first in my family to go to college. I graduated. I got my degree in education, 3.93 GPA. So it's like, I felt like that I beat the odds. That's why those words at the top really meant a lot to me. And then obviously I paid my tithes at Arizona and Washington. And I just feel like the portrait of me is that little kid. You got to always remember and think about that little kid in your head. Like, even now, like it's some people, like, life moves so fast that some people don't even realize like what they've been through or where they came from, or they just forget that little boy. And for me, I just feel like that's the reason why I still do it, because that little boy, just remember that smile, remember that face, remember how bad and how much he wanted it, and the things that he'd been through ultimately. So I feel like just having that on my back, and that I'm carrying that is always gonna allow me to have that chip on my shoulder.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.